Hi, welcome to my channel, and today I am going to be doing my December book haul and my December wrap up. Now, I normally do different videos for my hauls and wrap ups, but in December I was really good and I only bought one book. I don't know whether that's because I was too busy buying presents and I was ill as well, so I couldn't really get out of the house. The book that I did end up buying was Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. Now, I do already have a paperback edition of this, but I went round Waterstones and I saw this gorgeous edition and I thought I have to have it because it looks so pretty, and I did realise it was a bit thick for Neverwhere, so I opened it up and it turns out it's an illustrated edition. Let me try and find some illustrations. See, you can just see there. They're all dotted around. There's some big ones, there's some that take up a full page, but I just thought it's so pretty. Ooh, I just went past an illustration. There you go. It's so pretty that I thought I just need to have it on my bookshelf. I decided to buy it. So yeah, December was a really good reading month for me. I don't know whether it's because I was ill, so I was at home all day so I could just read through books. If you watched my November TBR, I basically said I wanted to read all my hardbacks before the end of the year. And I'm happy to say that I did that. I actually stuck to my TBR for once. All my hardbacks have now been read and I am so happy. I even got a chance to start on some of my paperbacks. So now I think I'll have about 7 books to be read, which obviously after Christmas, because I'm filming this on Christmas Eve, will get a lot higher because lots of my presents are books. You can just tell by looking at them. But anyway, before I go into my December wrap up, there's 2 books that I didn't mention on my November wrap up just because I read them after I filmed it. So the first book was Flashpoint. I read this, it's a quick read, read it in a day. I did like it, and I know there's some other comics to go with it because I did feel it was a bit, it just ended and that was it. So I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. But it would be nice to read more of the comics that go into this just so it's understood more, and I just wanted more, to be honest. Let's just put it like that. And the other book I read in November was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the original screenplay by J.K. Rowling. I read this after I saw the movie, and it's basically just the movie in script form. But I still loved it. It's great to see all the little side notes that J.K. Rowling's wrote, like the directions. It's just so funny. I'm reading it. See, I loved the movie. The movie was brilliant. I would give the movie 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it way more than I thought I would. I thought it'd be a bit disappointing, but it wasn't. It was perfect. I loved it. And this is just perfect. It's a great souvenir, and I think it's nice to give it a read every now and then as well. And it's so pretty with the little cover and the niffler. Oh, I love the niffler, it's so funny. And Eddie Redmayne was perfect as well. He is just perfect. So the first book I read in December was The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid, I believe it's pronounced. I expected so much from this book and it gave all of it. It basically follows a girl called Nemesis who has been brought up to protect just one person. She would do anything to protect that person, and it turns out the only way to protect this person is to go into the Galactic Council and pretend to be her. When she's there, she meets lots of people, she meets the Emperor's son, and it's just so good. It goes into lots of detail about the past. I just can't say enough words, and when I finished it I was like, I'm so sad this is a standalone, I want more. But it's just been announced that it's now going to be a trilogy and I cannot wait. This is just so good, you just have to pick it up. The next book I read was The Museum of You by Carrie Spray. Now, I picked this up a while ago but didn't get through to it just because I had other books on my TBR that I wanted to read first. When I first started reading it I was a bit worried because I didn't realise it was from the point of view of a 12-year-old, so I thought, oh, that might not be that good. But it basically follows a 12-year-old girl, I've forgotten her name, and her father, whose mother has passed away. And you see it from both points of view. The chapters take turns, which I really, really liked. I love books that do that. And this girl, she doesn't know much about her mother because she died when she was a baby, and she's trying to get little bits of her mother's life to create a museum of her. But you see, there are some mixed feelings about the mother. From the book it sounds like she had postnatal depression, which I think is so good to be covered in a book. And so obviously the young girl is finding all these bits and she like makes up happy memories, whereas the dad has got less happy memories. And I just think it's a really nice, sweet book about a family with a loss, and I think everyone should read this. It's just so adorable, and that's coming from someone who doesn't really like contemporary fiction. I'm more into the fantasy set, not in the real world, but you just need to give this a read. It's so cute and adorable, and it's just so good. Please read it. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars as well, I think. And then after that, I read The BFG by Roald Dahl. Now, this is one of my favourite books. When I was growing up, I read a lot of Roald Dahl. I basically had all his books. And The BFG was one of my favourites because the main character is called Sophie, and I'm called Sophie. And there's not many books where there's a character called Sophie. It's not really a common name for writers. So I was really happy. And when the new film came out, Waterstones brought out this special edition, and I thought, I need this. So I bought it and I read it in December, and I loved it. I was a bit nervous to reread a book I read from my childhood in case it wasn't as good, because obviously I've grown up. But it's still the same. It's still lovely. It's still probably one of my best childhood books, and there's just so much nostalgia. And in here there's also different illustrations from Quentin Blake. He's the gentleman who illustrated all the Roald Dahl's books. I'll just try and find some illustrations. So there's like this one of the BFG. I think he's drinking Frobscottle. That's the drink where the bubbles go down. It was one of my favourite parts as a kid, and I still loved it. And also the inside is just so beautiful. It's just a beautiful book, and I needed it, and I read it, and I gave it 5 stars, as you could probably guess. Then after the BFG, I read Eleanor by Jason Gurley. This was not what I expected it to be. I expected it to be about a girl growing up after the loss of her twin sister who drowned, but actually it's not. It starts in the past with this girl's grandmother who drowns by kind of commits suicide. She basically goes swimming in the sea and doesn't come back, so they think she tried to commit suicide. Then it flash forwards to when Eleanor's a little girl, she's in the car with her sister and her mother, and they end up in the car crash, and the sister goes straight through the windscreen. It then flashes forward to, I think, when she was 16. Her mother's now an alcoholic, her father's split up from his mother, and she's basically left as a carer for her mum. Then it goes into something that I did not expect. She starts being sent off to these weird worlds every time she goes through a doorway, and I don't want to say much else because it will spoil it. The ending confused me so much, but it still was a really good story. I was hooked. I wanted to see what on earth was happening because I did not expect it at all. And I did give this 4 out of 5 stars just because, like I said, the ending was very confusing and I wished it could be explained a bit more. And then I read Hawkeye Volume 1. It's by so many different authors, I'm not going to say them all. But I originally read this when it came out online, but then when I was in Forbidden Planet in London, I saw the 1st and 3rd editions. So I thought I'd get the 1st edition and read it, and then maybe just wait to get the 2nd and 3rd editions in order. But it's such a good book. I love Hawkeye. Hawkeye is my favourite Avenger, and Kate Bishop as well, who's another Hawkeye. She's just so amazing. It's great to see Clint and Kate together instead of just Clint and Natasha, but you do get Natasha showing up and Spider-Man and everything, and I really liked it. And then that's all my hardbacks done with. I started reading my paperbacks, and I read The Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. Now this started off a bit slow because it was trying to explain what's happening, but then it really got into it. It's basically about a world that's split in half, owned by 2 different people, and in this world there are different monsters which are created by different kinds of bad actions. I can't remember all the monsters. There's just 3. And this follows August, who is can't remember what the monster's called, but he's like the worst monster. He's the one that's created from like mass murders. Then it follows Kate, who is the daughter of Callum, and Callum is the leader of one of the halves of the city, and basically they come into contact, there's a conspiracy, and it's basically about them trying to keep safe. It is really good, and it's nice to read a YA novel where there's no falling in love, because it does get quite annoying and repetitive. So to have a male and female come together and not have them falling in love, I loved it. I can't wait until Is It Our Dark Duet comes out this year, just because I want to see what happens, and I just think this is going to be a really good series. Except I think it's all going to be a duology, So I can't wait to see how it ends then. Then after that I read The Sealed Letter by Emma Donoghue. Now I read this because earlier in the year I read The Wonder by the same author and I really liked it. And I do want to start reading more historic novel that's not set around World War II, because that is the main historic setting that I go for. This is set in Victorian London and it follows a lady called Fido, and her friend Helen comes back to England and she's having an affair with someone from the army. Basically it follows one of the first divorces, and so it goes into the trial, which is what I really enjoyed. I enjoy stuff like that, and I just like it. Follows from the perspectives of Fido, Helen, and then Helen's husband who's doing the divorcing. So it's great to see the different sides, you know, what her husband does in court, what she does in court, and how Fido reacts when being used in this affair. I really liked it. I think I gave it maybe 4 out of 5 stars, just because I didn't really care for any of the characters. I wasn't drawn to any of the characters. I didn't really care. The only feeling I had towards the character is Helen. I didn't really like her. I was more on the husband's side and wanted him to get a divorce. But yeah, I do recommend you read it if you do like your historic fiction. It is really good. It just lacks from empathy towards the characters. I think empathy is the right word, but I didn't really care for the characters. And the last book I read was Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. Now this was given to me by my MP Secret Santa. She also gave me Cinder, which I can't wait to read. But Everything Everything, like I mentioned before, I'm not really into contemporary fiction, but I wanted to read this just because I've always thought, what is it like to be allergic to everything? So that's why I read this, and it is such a good read. It's told in different types of writing, so you've got like little drawings and everything, which makes it quite quick, and the chapters are really short, and there's a good twist in the end, which I did think, I wonder if this happens, and I didn't actually expect it to happen, but it is a really good book, and this has made me want to read, is it The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, just because, like I said, I'm not into contemporary fiction, but this is good, and I want to read more of Nicola's writing, so I'm going to get that ordered after Christmas. Yeah, that is everything I read in December. I can't wait to see what January brings. I hope it's another good reading year, and I hope I get some good books for Christmas as well, because I'm filming this on Christmas Eve. I don't know whether I've mentioned that. I'm going to do my January TBR after Christmas, so I can include some of the books that I got on Christmas Day. Have you read any of the books that I've mentioned? What did you think to them? And as usual, you can follow me on Twitter, Goodreads or Instagram. And I now do have Snapchat. All my links are down below. And it would be great if you could like and subscribe to this video. And I will see you later. Bye!